Last week, Stephanie Finn, our communications director, asked me this very simple question. She asked, how do you celebrate Advent? And so I thought about that, and I've been thinking about that this first week of Advent. I realized that I don't, of course, celebrate Advent. I observe Advent. It's a season that I observe. It's kind of like Lent. You don't sort of celebrate Lent. It's not a celebrate-y sort of season. It's an observing sort of season. And so the question, I kind of shifted the question, is how is it that I observe Advent? What is it that I observe in Advent? And I'll tell you, there's a couple of things that come immediately to mind. The first thing I observe in Advent is as I go to church Sunday by Sunday and I hear the lessons that are being read and the themes that are in those lessons, my heart and my mind are turned to the anticipation and the expectation of Jesus coming again in glory. And that deeply, deeply comforts me. You know, one of the things that I think is really true as we live out our lives is there are times and seasons we just fundamentally understand that this world is not yet right. It remains broken. There are good things and joyful and beautiful things in this world, but there is something that remains to be done. There is something that is still amiss. There is a longing in all of us for something that will ultimately be set right. And this season, I observe in this season that the lessons and the service and even like the proper preface at communion and the collects are directing me. I'm observing them, directing my attention to His coming again in glory when indeed all things will ultimately be set right. That longing for another country, a better country, comes forward to me because I'm observing, I'm noticing what the lessons are telling me, what the scriptures are telling me throughout Advent. And it reminds me of that C.S. Lewis quote that sort of says, if I find in myself desires that nothing in this world can satisfy, the only logical explanation is that I was made for another world. And Advent, I observe Advent directing my heart and my mind to that longing for a better country. And I am grateful for that. I guess the second way in which I observe and notice these things is really in the music of Advent. Some people are very strict about Advent music, and we mustn't sing anything Christmassy before Christmas, and sometimes we can get a little too uptight about that. But I do think there is a real value in retaining the wonderful and beautiful Advent hymns that are part of our tradition. And it's interesting, more than any other season for me, the Advent hymns connect me with this longing and with this theme. In a sense, I bring out my bass and I play my bass, I think, more frequently in Advent and in anticipation of Advent than any other season, really, because I love being connected to this sense of longing. It's like hymns like Lo He Comes with Clouds Descending. Again, not necessarily a well-known hymn, but again, that directs my heart and my mind to these themes of His coming again, His coming in glory, and Rejoice All Ye Believers. You know, some of these hymns, particularly Rejoice All Ye Believers and the other great Advent hymn, which is O Come, Emmanuel, are written in these minor keys that again echo this this longing for this better country that's not yet satisfied. And they really connect me with the themes of Advent. And really, in the end, ultimately just turn my heart towards anticipating Jesus. And that's really what Advent is fundamentally about, is that anticipating Jesus, His coming, His first coming as a baby in Bethlehem, but His coming again in glory. And so the lessons, the lessons that we read on Sunday, the hymns of Advent, all these things direct us to that longing and that anticipation. And that's how I observe Advent.
Well,